Hello everyone, it's good to see you all again. Back again with another video. Today we'll be doing part 2 of building the Tantive 4. And since bag 2 seems to be a little light on pieces, I'm thinking maybe we'll do bag 2 and bag 3 for today. So without further ado, let's get started. Give me a second while I sort these pieces out. So I've got it sorted and it seems like a lot more pieces than I thought that were in the bag, but still a small amount. So, and there are actually a couple pieces in here that I've actually never seen or used before, such as this piece here, which I know probably goes to some sets that have strings or ropes, but I've never actually had any of those sets growing up. It was always Star Wars, so working on stuff like this, I feel like I'm right at home. Building ships and building minifigs. Because the Star Wars series was the biggest series I grew up with. It was just, I started with The Phantom Menace because I was around during the time of the prequels. So that's kind of where I started. And some people can hound me about that, saying you should have watched the original before you watched all this and all the new stuff. To which my answer would be, I was, what, 7, 8 at the time, maybe younger. So it was just cool watching people with swords and ships in space, and also the clone army. I was a big fan of that as a kid. I can't tell you how many lightsabers and pistols and helmets from Star Wars that I was attracted to as a kid, always wanting one for myself. But, you know, Legos are more affordable than, buying an expensive what are they like now today? 40, 50, 300, 400 priced helmets and lightsabers versus the old ones I remember from Hasbro being like plastic tubes or cones that would you could pull out with a flick. Those were fun times because you could hit those bad boys on any surface. Heck, get them stuck to a door right in there, right in the hinges. And you close the door on them and they would bend back out into shape. They were tough suckers, is what they were. Oh, looks like I'm missing a gray brown piece here. Another gray piece. Oh, back here. Another one right here. But yeah, Star Wars was my biggest thing growing up. That and Transformers. I remember going to school every morning, coming home, and then on some days we would go to the store and I'd pick out a Transformer set, which now that I think about it, I don't think I have much of any of them left. But who knows what they would go for right about now if I had kept them in their peak condition. But we were kids then. We didn't know better. How could we? Just wanted to have fun. Oh, but it seems as we build this set, we're building the part of the front half of the ship. And I'm gonna be honest, I had no idea what to expect with this thing since, like I said, Tantive 4 was not a ship that I researched much on. I mean, it was a cool ship. It's a pretty ship, but to me, I'm more of the guy that likes those military ships. So it's why I like the Devastator, the ISD Star Destroyer, the crud, and my mind's drawing a blank. The Executor, which is basically the big Vader flagship that you see in. I don't remember if you see it in the Empire Strikes Back, but I know you see it for sure in Return of the Jedi. And it was beautiful seeing that ship. Sure, it's like a big Dorito triangle, but I mean, to me, I think that's part of the beauty of it is watching. Oh, broke off a piece. Is watching something so militaristic, so gray, and being so powerful, which the Empire was, despite the incompetence and all the stuff you see in the shows of Star Wars and Rebels and whatnot. Let's see, what am I doing wrong here? Oh, I see what I'm doing wrong. I put these too far back. And again, that piece comes with me. You know, I like to think that the Empire was very competent and very calculated when it comes to what they do. But then again, you have Grand Admiral Thrawn, and if you had everyone being so cool and specific or cold, logistical, and calculated like Thrawn, then you have no one that's special or unique. But I also like to think that not every Imperial was horrible. Maybe that's just the bias in me, loving how the clones were in the Clone Wars and not really liking what they turned into in the Rise of the Empire. I mean, in the Battlefront 2 games, the old version made by Lucasfilms and Pandemic, I think was the studio, you see the clones didn't have inhibitor chips. And one of the dialogues during when the 501st marches into the temple, it's just them saying that they knew what they were doing, and did any of them have any doubts of what they were doing, or whether they should go through with it? Yeah, but no one said a word, and they had to do it because it was their job. Let's see. So this connects to about right here. That connects over that. So as we do this, we make more of a body of the ship. But maybe it's just me being biased, me being, you know, a big old softy for them just being soldiers and doing what they do best. But I guess that doesn't make it any right. But it's kind of hard to side with the rebels sometimes when you have some extremists like Saw Gerrera, which you see in Rogue One, I believe, and other Star Wars films. But the extremist mentality isn't really the easiest thing to get behind, unless you're really desperate, or that's kind of what you have, kind of what you like. Let's see, those attached like that, that, which playing a bad guy, I would feel is probably much easier than playing the good guy. You get to let loose and have fun. Not saying that the good guys don't have fun, but it's like you can channel everything and it feels a lot easier. Let's see, this attaches there with that, this like that, this attaches to this here. Oh, I think this is building the head. Yep, that's building the head or front of the ship, bow, cockpit. I don't know, what would you call it for a big spaceship's front? I mean, would it still be a cockpit? I mean, probably, but it doesn't sound right to me. Oh, I knew I did something wrong here. Forgot that stud there. Oh, sometimes I forget the strength that I have, which isn't much, but you know, sometimes Lego can be very delicate. Oh, so that's what those wheels are for. I'll show you in a moment. So the way those wheels work is that we pass this green rod right through, and I guess it gives it depth to the to the flight controls, or the front of the ship. So make sure it's even. And we'll figure out once we set these on. Oh, those didn't set all right. And it looks like I have to put, oh, stickers on first. So give me a moment. I have to get some tweezers for this. I had no idea how I'd be putting stickers on this. See, I have to use tweezers when doing these because I've done a lot of this stuff without tweezers, and it always bothers me when they're not centered. Now that I think about it, maybe I should get these on first, just so I know how to get the stickers on facing the proper direction. Okay, and it looks like gray openings face towards the front of the ship. Come on. And even then, sometimes they're not even perfect. And it will bother me for the rest of my life, but if I peel the sticker off, it doesn't sit right afterwards. So here's hoping we can get this side. Sometimes I agree with what some people say. Why doesn't Lego just make these into special tiles rather than stickers? Then you want to have people nagging about their pieces not sitting right. So this attaches right here. And there we go. We have the front half of Tantive 4. Now, if you'll give me a moment, I'll get into building the third bag, or opening it and sorting it. So I'll be right back with you. Alrighty. This one seems to have a lot more pieces to it. And it seems like we'll be building the part of the engine for this one. So let's continue on, shall we? Let's see, two pieces here in the back. So I guess that's the engine mount. So that's done for now. And now we build the actual piece of the engine. So we take some of these gray pieces and line them up, interlace, or staggered, and attach these pieces underneath. It's an interesting design for an engine, if I must say so. You know, it's always the rebel ships that have the most amount of engines. You know, if you notice, like the Tantive 4 has, I think, 9 independent engines, whereas the Empire has like 3 big ones, 4 small ones. The Venator has 2 large ones. No, well, they might all be the same size, but it has essentially 2 ones that protrude out further, and then 2 closer into the ship. Maybe there are more, but you know what? Yeah, I just noticed that the Rebels just always have more engines than any other group. I think with that much, they got a lot of speed, but who knows? What am I missing here? Oh, great piece. See, sometimes I always skip over the instructions and I come and look at the next thing and I'm like, where did that come from? Turns out I missed a step. And then I just think to Doy, I'm an idiot. Go back and look what you were missing. And I'm just glad I catch it now versus 5 steps down the road where, huh, that doesn't look right. And find the one piece that's missing. Luckily, Lego is more forgiving than construction work or engineering. And attach this. Come on. There we go. Fits right in. Let's see. 3. I have one of those. Here's the other. So if this sits on that side, this sits on that side, then plates down the middle. Attach these right through here. Oh, those move. So what is the purpose of these? Attach. So flip over. Attach these studs right underneath here. I'll flip back over. Attach these pieces here together. You know, sometimes I like when Lego does that. They just use what features they have, just attach things to make them fit, even though they don't feel right. Give it some time, they fit together just perfectly. They're meant for something else. Okay. this piece sits those together. More of these pieces. Alrighty. And now we're dipping in to the big stack that we have. White pieces. And when I say a stack, I mean it's a fair bit. Those attached there. Next, we set this down. That section seems to be complete. Pick one of these and start assembling together. I'm guessing these are the outer mechanic workings of the ship. You know, the aesthetic part. Which I'm surprised it's this early. Attach this here. Attach this piece up top. Attach these two triangles to the front. And seems to attach facing this way. See, the executor follows this copy a bit, having these pieces placed, these gray, I guess, hand signals attached to some clips. So, where does this attach? Oh, attached to this side. How much? Okay, so it hangs off the back rather than the front. So, you get it hanging like that. And then you repeat the process on the other side. Just mirroring it, I guess. Yep, just a mirror. Uh, who would have thought it would be so elaborate just to build something this small? I can't imagine what building actual models must feel like, having to work through every piece, glue it together, cut it down, and sand it, and then trying to fit it all together with some glue, scalpels. Must be very tedious, you know. I don't think I'd ever have the patience to do that. I mean, doing this is kind of simple because, one, you don't have to glue it. I mean, it all connects together. And two, you don't really have to paint it since the pieces usually come colored. And that way, you know, I mean, unless you break or lose one, then you'd probably have to substitute it with something else. Which case, you know, just consider it a unique feature to your ship. So it's all worth it. Can't tell you how many times I've broken Lego sets and just added different colors. Just called it the junk version or the, recycled version. Those attach here. Just gotta be resourceful and creative when building. I mean, isn't that what Lego's about? Using your idea or using your head to build new ideas, make your own sets. Or, like what we're doing now, just building some models. It'll be interesting. It'll be nice to see what this looks like when it's all set and done. I mean, she's a beautiful ship, and I've probably said that a dozen different times. But I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a ship so clean in space before. I mean, she is beautiful. Corellian, I think almost the same company that made Han Solo's Millennium Falcon. Who knows, maybe it is. I'll have to rebrush my Star Wars to figure that out. So that completes the engine, and it just attaches back here. It says here that the pins go through where? Through the two gaps that are available. Oh, I see why. Because if you don't add them there, the engine's going to break off. The doy. Sometimes I wish I was smarter than that. But it's interesting that, it could have been. It's ingenious how they decided to do it because doing it this way, it sits flush here. And then, as for a second, I was wondering, why doesn't it go all the way through so you can just put pegs here or, washers to make sure it doesn't fall? Well, the next step, it tells you to apply this kind of wall for aesthetic design and place it over where you put those pegs. So now it just sits there in place and they won't fall out unless you take this piece out and whatever else comes above it. So, gotta hand it to Lego, or the designers of this set. They really sat and thought about it. Or, they kind of, well, no, they sat and thought about it and this is what they came up with and it's beautiful. I mean, could you imagine like a set like this back when the New Hope released or back when we first saw this ship, whether that be a New Hope or in actually you actually see this ship in Revenge of the Sith and Rogue One. So, at any point, imagine them releasing a Lego set for this ship. It's a beautiful thing. Bet you a bunch of kids would have bought it and just been like, wow. I know I would have been wow. Although, I doubt I would have kept it in one piece for long. Playing with it, running around, flying the ship with all the other ones, and just being an idiot. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is bag 2 and 3 done. 2 being the head, 3 starting on the engines, and building up the body. Thanks again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed it. I know I didn't talk much during this section, but if you have something you want me to talk about or have any questions, please let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them either in my next video or answer them back to you in the comments. Thanks again.